For someone who does a podcast about movies and TV shows,
Yeah.
you do tend to only watch the things in preparation for the show.
Yeah.
But I believe you've been watching some things.
Well, considering you mispronounced the word show and said shell.
Did I?
Yes.
Did I say show?
Which is quite handy because I watched the Teenage Mutant Ninja.
Did you like it?
I absolutely loved it. I thought it was brilliant. The animation's out of this world. It's that lovely, almost not graffiti, but like, you know, when you see like there was jagged colours on it, where it was like drawn freehand and stuff like that. Oh, absolutely brilliant. I thought it was brilliant.
I just like the fact that all the actors are teenagers as well.
Yeah. And he purposely did a lot of recording where it was overlapped.
They're actually in the studio together, are they?
So they're just over talking over each other, and that's what I love, because it's sometimes all three of them are talking at the same time. You're like, what the hell is going on? But I was reading about it, when you got 4 teenagers, I imagine that's what it's like non-stop.
Yeah, they don't like take turns talking, do they? That is what it's going to be like.
Yeah.
So you liked it?
Loved it.
I watched the film you're never going to watch called Cobweb.
Don't just the name, and no, I'm never going to watch it.
It's a horror film with Anthony Starr, who's Homelander in The Boys.
Oh,
that was worth a watch.
He's Australian, New Zealand as well, isn't he?
He is, yeah. Just brilliant American accent.
They all do.
It's impressive. And then I am going to see a thing, Deacon Blue. I'm on Friday.
Oh,
I've never seen
where
it.
Where are you playing?
Well, it's the Echo Arena, isn't it? We call it
of course, it's the Echo Arena.
The official name's the M&S Bank Arena, but we'll always call it the Echo Arena.
Is it even an M&S Bank? I don't get it. Like, why call it something that doesn't exist?
But no, I've never seen them. Like, massive fan in like the 80s and 90s, but this will be the first time as a 43. How old are we now? 44-year-old men.
Yeah,
going to see them.
Because as soon as you said it before, because you said, have we seen Deacon Blue? I was like, no. But we did go and see Delamitri.
We did at the Royal Court, yeah.
We did.
And Lightning Seeds recently.
We saw Lightning Seeds recently. Who else have I seen? Randomly, I remember when I was a kid, my mum came home and said, I've got tickets to go to a gig. And me and my sister must have only been teenagers. It was at the age where you stopped doing things with your parents. And it was, do you remember Tanita Takaram? And she had that one big hit, It's a Good Tradition of Love. Yeah. So, like, random gig in Warrington of all places. I don't know where she got the tickets from. So we went to see. She was amazing.
Was it good?
Really, really good. Like, obviously, that was her big hit, but it was I seem to remember, I must have only been a teenager. And I don't know if you remember, I mentioned, I can't remember what episode it was. It was, in fact, it was Pirates of the Caribbean, because is it Davenport?
Jack Davenport, yeah.
I said he was in a BBC programme called, was it This Is Us? Something like that. With Andrew Lincoln, where they were all the lawyers.
This Life?
This Life, that was it. Tanita Takaram's brother was in that, randomly.
That is a bit of
That's completely random. So I've never met him, but I did go and see Tanita Takaram. Oh my God, I've just remembered something.
Your eyes have lit up.
So, I was on a tube once in London, because I lived in London for years, and these two women sat in front, and they were like opposite me, and I'm looking at them going, they look really familiar. Like, trying to not stare. And I looked, the girl, there were two girls, one was American, one was English, and the English girl played Andrew Lincoln's girlfriend in that programme. Her character was Millie. I can't remember her name. She's done quite a bit of TV. And the other woman she was with is do you remember the episode, a couple of episodes of Friends? Joey was going out with the other dinosaur professor, and who worked with Ross.
Yeah.
Her.
It was her.
It was both of them. And I'm like looking at them going, I'm sure it's them. Like, the names of what, I can't remember the names, I do apologise. And I'm just like, I'm sure it was definitely them. And then I checked, they were in a play together in the West End at the time.
Oh, right, so it was definitely them.
Yeah, and it was like, it was the most random sighting on Tube. But you just reminds me then.
That's I'll just come back to you.
Yeah, completely pointless preamble. Probably edit all that bit out.
Let's start the show. Hello and welcome to Watch It If You Can. My name is Dave.
My name is Liam.
This podcast is all about box sets we've created of our favourite films and TV shows. Some you've seen, some you haven't, and others you may never want to watch. However, if you've never seen Kindergarten Cop, tell me, who is your daddy and what does he do? All we want to do is chat on about these films and TV shows we love so dearly, and maybe, just maybe, you should watch it if you can. Liam.
Dave.
Okay.
I've nearly forgot your name.
It's been such a great start.
My
You were
God.
just looking out the window.
I know, the window, and you and Dave. That was like, no, you're Dave.
You know, we've got a show on tonight, yeah? To be honest, I've just had to do the intro 4 times, haven't I?
Well, don't give on straight secrets away, because by the time I've edited it, it sounds seamless.
The magic of editing, yeah.
The magic of editing, yeah.
You missed the bits where we, like, pause for a long time because we've totally forgotten the name of an actor's name, or do you ever cut out the bits where we repeatedly pronounce someone's name wrong as well?
And a lot of M's.
A lot
of M's. It's definitely a thing. More so, I think Liverpudlians do use the word a lot. I don't know why.
I think because sometimes you're talking faster than your brain works.
I think that's definitely the point. You just go
that's
blah, blah,
my
blah.
problem,
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
So, what what is it this week? Because it is a film that you've seen and I have never seen before.
Not many of them.
It's very rare, yeah. You did
Yeah.
well to find one. So what was the film that you picked for me to watch that you've seen?
The film I picked this week is The Way, Way Back.
Oh, excellent.
Okay, so it's a 2013 film about 14-year-old Duncan who was forced to spend the summer with his mum along with her new overbearing boyfriend and his teenage daughter. While away, Duncan finds sanctuary working at a local water park along with a bunch of other social misfits.
So why did you choose this for me to watch?
Because it's about the only film you've never seen.
Fair play.
Not only that, it's another film about friendship again for me, isn't it?
You're sticking with that theme, aren't you, all the way through?
And it wasn't originally planned that way. But I was like thinking about it before. You could literally swap Duncan and Owen for Ricky and Heck and swap the water park for the New Zealand bush. And you've got a lot of the same film. It's
the same themes,
yeah.
Isn't it, running all the way through it?
Yeah. So, and it's, I think, and when did we mention it? I think it was when we did My Cousin Vinny. I said to you, it's a boss little film. This is a boss little film. It's one of them, and the reasons I said it's a boss little film because it's a cracking little script. It's a cracking cast. And everyone who wants to be in it, cast-wise, is doing it because they want to be in that film. You can see they're not getting paid a lot of money because it's a low-budget indie film, but there's quite a lot of well-established actors as when touch on the cast later. So they're all in it because they've read the script. They want to be in this film and he wanted to make this film. And I love films like that. So it is a boss little film. And some of the themes we've touched on, especially with Home for the World, people that broken family, dysfunctional family sort of theme, dealing with rejection. And I think one of the reasons it probably spoke to me more is that social awkwardness as a teenager. I look at the scenes of Duncan, the bit where he sat on the beach with his stepdad's daughter and he sat like 10 foot away from them and he's in his jeans and trainers on the beach looking really awkward. It's like, oh my God, that's so me.
So I don't know why this passed me by, because it come out 10 years ago.
Yeah, 2013, yeah.
I don't really remember it being on cinemas, do you?
No. I found out about it. I was watching... A couple of years ago, I was doing a thing where I was picking an actor and going through a lot of their movies. So I did an Alan Rickman season. And it was a way for me to find films I've never seen, because I get a little bit stuck in my ways when I'm watching things. You know me, I tend to watch Boxset or rewatch Boxset, because I've just finished watching Modern Family again for the second time, all 10. Well, I've still got series 11 to watch. And I remember going through an Alan Rickman Boxset, and then I went through a Steve Carell bibliography, and that's how I found it. And then I realised it's the same producers of Little Miss Sunshine, which I'm definitely touch upon at some point in the podcast. And I was just like, and I remember watching and thought, I absolutely love that film. It's just, there's something about films of friendship that really, I don't know, maybe I've just got no friends. I don't know what it says about
You're
me.
craving for that.
I need friends. Yeah. Anyone, would you be my friend?
Do you think it's a difficult film to sell?
Yeah, because nothing really happens in it. So to speak, again, it's a coming of age film as well, isn't it? Duncan's is 14, he's just he's finding himself. It is a difficult one to, because...
Is that the genre though? Is it a coming of age, or is it a comedy? Is it a drama? Because it's got so many elements.
It's down, and they put it, I think, as a comedy drama these days. It's got some really funny moments and amazing performances in it. I wouldn't say it's a comedy. I wouldn't say it's a drama. It's just, it is. Do you know what it is? It's a boss little film. It's a boss little movie. I'm gonna try and hashtag that, because I think it's a legitimate genre, because there are identifying sort of boundaries what makes a boss little movie. It's a boss little script, boss little cast. It's an indie film. You've got to hit them three for it to be a boss little movie. So
there's a criteria for boss little movie. There is
boss little movie. It's a real thing.
So the way back is like a saying from the 70s apparently. The way back is the back seat of the car.
In American station wagons, they have that extra seat in the back, don't they?
And I read it was originally meant to be set in the 80s, and they changed it. But if you notice, you see very little technology anyway. Yes,
there's a few bits where he's on his phone. He's got an iPod because he's got the white headphones. But you're right, it's very, because Steve Carell, who's in it, he drives an old station wagon, because he references it's the same one as Dad has when he was a kid. The house where they live, the summer house where they go and stay, seems like it's not really changed much since the 70s or 80s. And it's almost like, and I think what it's implying is that little pocket of American society of these, and the middle class people, they're not extremely rich white Americans, but they're not poor either. They have these summer holiday homes in like Massachusetts on the beach and stuff like that, and it's where they go and spend the summer. And I think that's why there's a lot of nods to the 80s, because don't forget he's when we meet Sam Rockwell's character, he's playing Pac-Man in the shop as well.
I was just going to say, because you mentioned the station wagon, even his car was an old car as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's not a lot of modern things in there. So you just mentioned Sam Rockwell. Who else is in it? What have they been in? What would we know them from, and any recommendations?
It's an absolute cracking cast, this one. I'll start off with Duncan, who's the young kid. He's played by a young lad called Liam James. Great name, by the way, Liam. I love that. He's currently in, and I haven't seen it, but you've mentioned this to me, The White House Plumbers.
Yeah, I haven't started it yet.
And he's just done a series, a couple of years ago now, called Deadly Class. Do you know about this? Russo brothers produced it. It's based on a comic book where mafia stroke bad assassin type people send their kids to boarding school. So it's a boarding school full of kids whose parents are like super baddies and stuff like that.
No, to be honest, you have me at Russo Brothers.
Yeah. So it's called Deadly Class. Never even heard of it. There's one series of it. So he's in that, and that was like, oh, I might try and dig that one out at some point. Who else have we got in it? Pam is played by the unbelievable Toni Collette. Oh, like some of the films she's done. One that I picked out, Muriel's Wedding, is the obvious one. That's the one that sort of brought her into limelight. About a Boy, Hugh Grant one, that's been brought up a few times on our podcast. Little Miss Sunshine, believe me, Little Miss Sunshine is going to be mentioned a few times in this podcast. And she's also in Knives Out as well.
Yeah, so the couple I picked out, Sixth Sense.
Sixth Sense, yeah.
The one I know you won't have seen is Hereditary.
No.
So that's a horror film from 2018, and I think it's like absolutely terrifying, and I think for a lot of horror fans it's probably in their top 20 at least. Yeah, I think it's a bit of a cult sort of classic already, and it's only a few years old. But the one that I noticed, which I've never seen, was one called A Long Way Down. Did you notice that on our list? So it's got Pierce Brosnan, Imogen Potts, Rosamund Pike, Aaron Paul, Sam Neill from Home for the Wilder People, Jurassic Park, and Joe Cole from Peaky Blinders.
Oh, I know. I remember when a name popped up before and I saw the front cover of it. I've never seen it, but yeah, I am aware of it.
And I haven't watched The Staircase yet.
Now, I was literally watching a trailer for that before. That's with Colin Firth as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a true story about Michael Peterson and whether he murdered his wife or not. I've seen the documentary, but I've never seen the series that she's in. So I
think Toni Collette has that amazing ability to play really normal women characters, and I don't mean that as a detrimental. She's such a good actress. She doesn't need characters to have anything crazy or bonkers out there. She can just play them absolute normal female characters and do it so well.
Just like people we would know.
Yeah,
that's what it's like, isn't it?
She's an absolutely unbelievable actress. Also, we've got Trent, played by Steve Carell. I absolutely love Steve Carell. And this is... He'd not long finished The Office. So at the time, this is what I'm saying, why it's a boss little movie, he was one of the highest paid TV stars. I think he was the highest paid TV star at one point, because The Office was the most watched TV show in America. They were the most highest paid. They were getting like something, God knows what, for every episode. This was one of the first things he did when he left The Office. Like, of all the things he could do.
And he must have had everything thrown at him, mustn't he?
Yeah, and look at some of the other things he's done. Obviously, we all know him from The Office. He also voices Gru from the Despicable Me franchise. Another great one he's done, Crazy Stupid Love, with Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone. I absolutely love that film. Don't Little Miss Sunshine. Believe me, that's not the last time it'll be mentioned in his podcast. And of course, he's in Anchorman.
I haven't watched The American Office, so I'm wondering whether I sort of skipped this film because I really knew Steve Carell as from Anchorman.
Yeah.
And obviously, I think had he done Despicable Me by then?
I think so. Possibly. I think the first one was done.
So I don't know whether I've seen advertised for it's a drama with the guy from Anchorman. Is it going to be any good? Because I didn't know him from The Office, but recently I watched him in The Patient. Have you seen that with Domhnall Gleeson?
No.
That's really good. It's like a 10-part FX series. That's where
I know which one you mean. Isn't he? I
don't want to spoil it too much because you watch, but he's a psychiatrist helping out Domhnall Gleeson.
Yeah.
He was in Date Night with Tina Fey.
He was.
From 30 Rock. And he's been in an episode of The Simpsons.
And also, he's in Good Morning. What's the one with Jennifer Aniston? And
The Morning Show.
The Morning Show. But I love Steve Carell when he doesn't play funny people. He's hilarious and he's amazing improv as well. That was his background before he got into movies. He's in one of these Chicago improv groups, which is really big. But oh my God, he does straight roles so well because he's done The Big Short as well with the hell of a cast and that. Foxcatcher. Oh, I think he plays and in this he's an absolute bastard. He is an absolute bastard, and I just think he does it so well. Yeah, I think it's amazing. I love comedy actors when you play really straight roles, and there's something about, I think, being a comedian, you understand timing, and I think
Well, Robin Williams was the king of it, wasn't he?
I think we've had this conversation. I think we did a piece on it, didn't we? On Kenny asked us for our Instagram our favourite comedians in straight roles. There's just something about comedian, and he does it better than most. And that, like I said, that's how I got into this film, because I was going back and watching Steve Carell films, and he's done some fantastic films, which I'll come to at the end of this as well. Okay, who else have we got in here? We've got Owen, who's played by Sam Rockwell. Sam Rockwell is literally just one of them actors who constantly does amazing performances, but is never the main guy. I recently watched the Dare See How They Run, where he plays a British...
I enjoyed that.
Yeah, really loved that. But some of the films he's in, Green Mile, Galaxy Quest, Frost Nixon, Iron Man 2, Seven Psychopaths, 3 Billboards. He played George W. Bush on Vice, do you remember?
Yeah, he did.
It was a hell of a performance. And he's in Jojo Rabbit. They're just some of the films I picked. Like, I forget how many films he's in.
Oh, he's in a ton. A couple where he is the lead, but they're not big films, was Moon.
Yeah, I've never seen that.
You'd really enjoy Moon, I think. And Confessions of a Dangerous Mind.
Never seen that, no.
There's 2 to add to your list. And he hasn't been in The Simpsons, but when I was doing the research and to look to see if he was, a fan had cast him as Snake if they made a live action Simpsons, and he'd be... I thought that was genius.
That was Snake.
Isn't that really good?
All right. Yeah,
I love Sam Rockwell.
I could see him playing that. Yeah. Oh, he's amazing. Also, we've got Betty, who's the neighbour next door, played by the amazing Alison Janney. She's most famously for West Wing, which is one of my favourite all-time shows. She's also amazing in The Help. She's in Juno. Plays the mum in I, Tonya, which is
she won the Oscar, didn't she?
A brilliant film. And she's also in the Melissa McCarthy film Spy as well, which I really love. We've also got Caitlin, who's played by Maya Rudolph. We've spoke about Maya before because she's in Bridesmaids, but she's currently in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. She voices Cynthia.
Oh, she is. The name did come up at the end. I just love her in Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and I think she's only in, is it 2 episodes?
Yes.
She just steals the show.
I just love Mary Rudolph. And we were just talking about, I told you to watch that clip. She does this clip with Emma Stone where they've got like a margarine tub, and they're tapping it and clapping and singing a song. Go and find the full video. Their harmonies, because they're both amazing singers, which what shocked me, but they do this routine where they go tapping, and it's so intricate. It's quite simple, but because it's the repetition and they're both doing it slightly different times, it's really impressive. But she's, Maya Rudolph, she's brilliant. The only other ones I'm going to mention is they've got 2 small parts in it, Jim Rash and Nat Faxon. But mentioning it is because they both wrote and directed this film. And of course we know Jim Rash as Dean Pelton from Community. And they both wrote the Descendants film as well with George Clooney, which they won the Oscar for.
Was that before? That was before this?
This was the immediate film before this, yeah.
So loads of great actors then. But who was either your favourite character or just favourite performance in the movie?
The 2 honourables are Alison Janney as Betty and Steve Carell as Trent. They were both... Do you know what? All the performances in this are so good. But I'm going to have to go with Sam Rockwell.
Oh, okay.
He just absolutely steals it for me.
I thought you would. So I've gone with someone else. So why did you pick him?
He just... No, when I remembered this film, and we mentioned this quite a lot, this box set, the first thing I think about when I hear the title of this film or see the title is him. His little jokes, the history of how the park was bought, and apparently ad-libbed a lot of the bits, and there's a lot of his messages over to the tannoy, and just how he really saw something in Duncan and just took the time out of his life to just reach out and just... I don't know. He's just
the little relationship with him and Maya Rudolph is good as well.
Yeah, it's really good as well. He's just And a lot of it was ad-libbed as well. A lot of his, and he's just on absolute form. You can tell making this film, he was absolutely loving life and enjoying it himself, and he brings everything to it. And everyone around him, you can literally see it when he's performing. Everyone around him, I love performing with him. He just takes, when he performs, everyone performs with him. He just seems to be one of them people, doesn't he? And it's more about the performance than the character. I just think he absolutely steals it. But as a character, there's definitely some pain there. He alludes, he gets what Duncan's going through. He mentions it himself a little bit later. And I just, the bit where he steps up a little bit later, at the end where he turned around to Trent, Steve Carell's character, and like, he's afraid. Do you think he's afraid? No, when he sort of
he gets in the way, doesn't he? Yeah,
and I just love his character, and every time you see him, from when he's playing Pac-Man and he's going on everything he says, he's the highlight of the film.
He is brilliant in it. I think that character easily could have been, I don't want to say a bit of a loser, but like,
yes,
a bit of a layabout, and because he doesn't really want to. He obviously wants to be there because he loves I think he loves the park, but he doesn't really want to put the work in.
No.
And then when he is actually sort of pulled up on it by Maya Rudolph's character, you see that scene where he's putting the deck chairs out the next day, and he's trying to make an effort.
And Duncan's like, "Yeah, but we put them up in rows facing the wall." And he's like, "Really?"
I'm not surprised it's improvised because so much of it is so quick.
Yeah,
isn't it? But I like the bit when the kids are all queuing up and he says, "I'm holding out for a hero."
Yes.
He starts like doing the lyrics of the song, and obviously them kids have got no idea what he's talking about. I think he's brilliant, but I had a feeling he picked Sam Rockwell because he's excellent, but I went with Duncan because I think that lad in the movie, he's such an awkward character already, and he's obviously going through a bad time with his mum and dad splitting up, and now she's got this new boyfriend. I think his performance, though, there's so much he does without even speaking.
Yes.
There's so many scenes. I think usually in a movie it's all the dialogue and the music that sort of tells you how you need to feel, but he very rarely smiles, does he?
No.
And when he does, it's worth it.
Yeah, and that's the payoff in the bit at the end where Tony Collette's mum finds that he's working there, and she walks past, and his photograph is the employee of the month, and he's got that lovely smile, and she's like, "Oh, you're right." There's loads of little moments, like the second time he goes out with the bike, he rips the tassels off the handlebars. Yeah. I love the bit. It's not even one of my favourite scenes, but as he's got a little bit more confidence, where he's just eating cereals and he's off to work and he's really enjoying it.
He winks at the
because he's wearing shorts as well, which is different, isn't it? Because like that just a bit where I mentioned before, where he's on the beach with jeans and trainers. It was so me at that age. It was just like
he does grow, because it's a very probably not the best analogy, but it's a very Clark Kent to Superman type thing. He's so awkward around girls and stuff, and we're going to talk about some of the scenes anyway. And I just think the one bit when he pushes Trent, you're sort of happy he did it. I think the problem with that scene is Trent would have absolutely escalated it. It would have got worse. And I think that was one of the scenes that showed you how bad a person Trent potentially could have been. But I almost didn't want him to do it, because he was such a nice guy. Like, you didn't want to see him do something violent. But I just think his whole performance,
it's amazing. And even his relationship with the neighbour's daughter, and I'm sure it was the character's name, was very subtle as well. I think when they were together, it was really lovely as well. When she turns up at the Waterpark, and Owen's got the sort of intercom thing, and he's talking through, and he's like, "Oh, I just love it," and he takes her around for the day, and you have a lovely day. It really does remind me of being a teenager, this film. Like a lot of it transfers. I know it's American, but a lot of the emotion, a lot of the awkwardness, you can
like an outside of it.
Yeah, you can just see it, you remember it, it's so real.
So you've just mentioned the scene then, and I'm going to bring it back up in a second. So what was your favourite scene or favourite moment in the movie?
Okay, we've got couple of honourables. First honourable is the breakdancing scene, where Owen goes and makes him break up.
So he's been told he's got to go and get the cardboard back off the breakdancers, hasn't he?
And Maya's Caitlin character played by May, she's like, why are you making him do this? And he has to go, and there's like the big crowd of people all sat around these couple of lads who are doing breakdancing, and he's like, I'm sorry, I've got to break it up, because he's trying to take, and he was like, no, you've got to dance. And he's really awkward, isn't he? And he's terrible. But the guys who he starts dancing with really respond to him, and then the girl comes in and goes, no, you watch this, and then he just goes with it. And it's that moment, and I think that's the moment he really felt he belonged at the Waterpark as well. He was asked to do something, and he did it, and that's what Owen said after. He said I asked him to do something, and he did it, and he did it by himself, because he said, I would have jumped in if I needed to, but he was like, and it was, I think it's a lovely scene. I think it really is. It's really quite funny. As he walks off, he's made up with himself to smile on his face.
Then he falls over.
Yeah, then he falls over, yeah. Other honourable mention is just a quick fleeting moment is at the end where him and Susanna do kiss, and Trent's daughter sat in the back of the car, and he turns around and gets back in the car and he goes, what are you looking at, Perv? Because that's the bitch, that was the line she used at him earlier on, and I was like, well, literally when we watched it the other night, I jumped up and was like, yes! And Jackie's like, alright, it's not that good a scene. I was like, no, but he told her it was, and she was like, it's just one of the movies, it's like, yes, go ahead, Duncan. But my favourite scene is that opening scene with Steve Carell.
Oh, excellent. Go on.
Because you don't know where it's going at this point. This is literally, there's no music. It just opens up. You're in a moving car, it's all silent, and then that conversation with Steve Carell's character Trent just turns around, he looks in the back mirror, and he's like that to Duncan. How do you rate yourself, Duncan? Come on, out of 10.
And like I say, at this point, we don't know. No. We don't even know if that's his dad or what the relationship is of anyone in the car, do we?
So we basically get him to rate himself, and Duncan's not really trying to. He's not interested. So he says, I don't. And typical answer is 6 because it's don't want to be
close to the middle.
And he goes, I think you're more of a 3. And from that scene, you know everything you need to know about Duncan. You know everything you need to know about Trent, and you know everything you need to know about their relationship, and then what the film is going to be. And it's such clever writing for that like little 2-3 minute scene. Oh, I think it's and again, when I think of that film, straight away it's that scene I think about. So that's the bit I think about. And Steve Carell is brilliant. He and this was said, I love it when he plays a knobhead or like that horrible person. He does it so well.
And because he can't switch from being that most wholesome guy to the opposite. It's really funny that you picked that scene. I've got 2 honourable mentions. One is last week you said your favourite scene in Predator was the montage scene.
Yes.
Where they get ready.
Yeah.
My favourite scene was the montage scene in this. So I love a montage scene.
Love a good montage.
Whether it's like Rocky or the 18, which what you mentioned last week.
And was it
Susanna's the girl.
Yes.
So there's that scene where Susanna turns at the park, and then just as that montage of her sort of following around and they're talking to each other, and you see Duncan like chatting and talking and laughing, and that's the first time in the movie, isn't it, where he's like properly talking to a girl and feeling happy. I just love that little happy montage. The dance off at the party.
Yes.
Purely because Sam Rockwell dancing. I don't know if you've ever seen any videos on YouTube. There's a few ways like comes onto like Jimmy Fallon and dances his way on. He's a brilliant dancer. I don't know if he's like trained or whatever, but in that scene,
most actors are good dancers.
I'm sure he is.
Yeah.
Just go on YouTube and just literally put in Chris Rockwell dance. You'll be there for ages. But it's so funny you picked the opening, because I've picked the very end.
Have you gone for the end one?
I've gone for the very end. So it comes back to me, to Liam James's performance, because that closing scene in the car, the only person that speaks is Steve Carell.
Yeah.
Because Toni Collette jumps in the back seat with Duncan, doesn't she? And she doesn't say a word, not one. But you know everything she's communicating. You know everything that's going to happen after these credits roll. And I love the fact that the whole film's bookended with him in the seat
Yeah.
as the film opens, and it leaves with him in the seat, but he's not on his own.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it is because it sort of builds up, and Toni Collette just she just jumps over and gets in with him, and at that moment,
no words.
Yeah, and you don't need no words, but Steve Carell Trent sort of blabbering on, and you're just like, yeah, it's.
I think it's perfect.
It is,
and again, it comes down. That's the writing, but the writing of the scene, as in, it's not the dialogue. Everything on that scene, I think is perfect. And like I say, it's so funny you picked the first scene when is on his own in the car, and I've picked the very last scene where he's not alone.
You know why this is, don't you, Dave? Because it's a boss little movie.
So what about the music then?
Oh, it's a great soundtrack. Couple of songs. I've got 3 songs. There's a song called Alone by Trampled by Turtles, cracking little song in there. There's the sort of a theme tune, the Way Back by composer Rob Simonson, is really good. But the one I really love is the one at the end, where they start to leave and he gets out and runs back to the water spot. It's the song Power Hungry Animals by the Apache Relay. Oh, fantastic song. But there's a really good soundtrack, and there's a couple of well-known songs in there. But 80 songs I've just realised, because it's In Excess.
In Excess is on, yeah.
And Mr. and all that.
He's singing
REO Speedwagon. Yeah, it's weird that it's got that 80s vibe, but it's not in the 80s.
So apparently that was the plan originally, meant to be in the 80s. So, not a very long movie, great performances, great writing, some great scenes, but what could you have done to make it better?
When I watched it again the other night, I was dying for it to get to the water park. I feel like watching it again.
Oh, because you know what the best...
Yes.
Like, you know Sam Rockwell's coming.
Yeah, I feel like it's not a slow start, because it's sort of setting everything out. Once you've watched it, you just want to get to the water park scene, because that's what's magic about it. Whenever he's there, you're happy. When he's round all the guys in the water park, you're happy. So that's the bit of change.
So is it more Sam Rockwell, just quicker to Sam Rockwell?
I just want more Sam Rockwell. But that's the thing of change, and it's and I don't know if it is in a weird way. It's how good the writing is, especially when you're coming back second time watching it, because you're so desperate to have them water park scenes, because the whole little sub story about is, can you overpass someone on in the water slide, and all them little things, and the three brothers that are there are always there, and there's so much going on, and you just, when you go back and watch it, if you ever watch it again, you'll be just waiting for the scenes in the water parks. That's my things that change. But would it really change it? I don't know, because it's a boss little movie.
Okay, I've got 2 then. One, I think, I haven't bought the written statement from Donna, but when we were watching the movie, Donna said, you have to talk about this. So it's the scene with Roddy, played by Nat Faxon, who's one of the writers and directors, when he stops the girls going into the water slide, and it doesn't quite sit right. It's really creepy. And I was reminded of the Barbie movie.
Yes.
Because we've both seen that recently. So when that scene came on, it was, and I think having like a teenage daughter myself, because he's not like, because he does it as well, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And it's kind of like watching it a little bit. It's a bit creepy. I don't think it'll be in there if it's made today. I don't. I think that's a massive difference in 10 years. That scene wouldn't make anymore. And like, it wasn't so much when Duncan was doing it himself, when he got confidence, because you could have just put that moment in where he just felt confident that he could just, but it was the bit where Roddy was going hot, and it was the camera staring. Yeah, I know exactly. So to stop and go back, then but it was more not him. It was the way it was directed, the way it lingered on. I think if the camera was maybe on Roddy's face, you go, oh, it's a bit creepy. Yeah. It's a bit silly. But the camera was sort of focused on the girls kind of midriff and stuff, and it was that. So that bit, like, I think you're right, probably wouldn't make it. The other bit that really, really annoyed me, they're playing a ball game. Oh, right? Yeah. They're all sitting around the table. Duncan has his go. His mum has her go. Then they go to Steph as her go. When you're playing a game, you play clockwise.
Well,
it made no sense. It really annoyed me. They were all sitting in the circle. It was not Steph's go next. That made absolutely no sense. Duncan had been, the mum had been, so either they were playing anti-clockwise or they're just playing it wrong.
Was your OCT ticking over?
What was going on there?
I never even noticed. But you know what was it? That game...
He doesn't play clockwise.
It was quite a real family game. When someone's pissed off and...
Yeah, you just don't want to play, do you?
I get told off all the time when we play family games, like by Jackie and my sister and all that, that I'm like, I don't see the point in playing unless we play the rules properly.
Are you the Trent?
Yeah, because...
I've started something here, haven't I?
Yeah, because
the rules make it more fun, don't they, Liam? That's what he says, isn't it?
Because I remember we were playing, and even when we were doing a game, because we were playing with Josh, who's my little nephew, and I'm like, I'll let him have that one. I'm like, no.
He's got to learn, has he?
When he wins by his talent or his expertise, it's more rewarding for him. I don't care if he is only 6 or 7.
No, I've started something. Let's move on. So what impression, if any, did it make?
Well, budget-wise, it was made for £5 million and it grossed £26 million, which is boss little movie, boss little return. I think the impact the film has is it solidifies the already amazing careers of like Toni Collette, Steve Carell, Alison Janney, Sam Rockwell. They were all just churning out great performance after great performance, and it was in amongst like a couple of years before, a couple of years after, and those 4 are just... I've got a hell of a body of work, and they all just came together, and I think they've all worked on it. They've crossed paths before and other stuff I can see as well. But to me, that's the standout, that those 4 actors and their performance. We were just in the middle of like a really good run of movies for them, and I think that's the impact it does have.
So, Boxset 3, our new section.
Oh.
Are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
Kenny, can we lower the lights, please? Liam, this is your quick fire round. So you have 2 seconds to answer each question. If Duncan's dad was in the movie, I'd have picked Bill Hader. Who would you have picked?
Bateman.
Jason Bateman.
That's
a good one.
Yeah.
Waterpark or Fairground?
Waterpark.
Family holiday or lads holiday?
Oh. Considering all I ever talk about are films about friends, I'd say family holiday.
What's the first holiday you remember?
Caravan holiday in Wales.
What's the best and worst holiday locations?
Best and worst? I don't really think of that many bad ones, if I'm honest. I'm always of the for you sort of make it your own. There's not. I don't think I've
had any bad experience.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever really had any bad experience. For the best one, I really loved Denmark when we all went to Denmark.
Oh, lads holiday.
Yeah, lads holiday. Yeah, yeah, Denmark. I just it was a great couple of days away in Denmark.
If you could time travel, way forward or way back?
Way back.
So how can we watch the way back at home?
It's the usual one. It's not on Netflix or Amazon Prime, so it's pay for it from all good streaming services such as Apple, Amazon, Sky, YouTube.
On the YouTubes.
Yeah, for about £3.50 they normally are. It's worth £3.50 of your money to watch this film.
So if you like this, what else would you like? I'm going to go first. I've got 2 themes to talk about. So this movie was made by Searchlight Pictures. So I was having a look at their kind of back catalogue of stuff, and a lot of it is things that we love. The Banshees of Inisherin, they made.
Yes.
They made Sexy Beast from 2000 with Ben Kingsley and Ray Winston. They made Super Troopers, which I don't know if you've seen.
I know of it.
So there's a sequel as well. Brian Cox is in the first one. They did Sunshine, the Danny Boyle movie with Cillian Murphy and Chris Evans.
I've never seen that yet.
Need to check that one out. Calvary.
Yes.
The one with Brendan Gleeson and Chris O'Dowd from the IT Crowd from 2014. And they are making the new Taika Waititi film, Next Goal Wins.
Saw the trailer for it, yeah.
Yeah, that's out this year. So Searchlight Pictures have got some great films.
And
that
this
we're
is,
checking out.
you know, this is, people go, but oh, the big studio. This is the benefit. You know, you don't. You know, the argument is you don't put enough money back in, but there is the facility there to, like, your big blockbusters fund films like this.
Yeah,
You know, that's but I think some of the things that are coming up recently with the writers' strike and the actors' strike is they're pointing out actually how much money is getting taken out is. It should be getting put back in to make films. Like, every penny studio makes should. I just don't see.
It shouldn't be gone to shareholders.
Yeah,
basically.
I just don't understand it. Make more movies. That should be our ban. Make more movies and TV. We're in an absolute golden age of writing and directing and performing. Like, let's not stop. Let's just keep making movies.
Cinemas
and
have never
TV.
been better than ever. Have they? So I've gone with summertime movies as my second theme. So I've gone with The Beach, another Danny Boyle movie. Leonardo DiCaprio from 2000. Adventureland with Jesse Eisenberg, Kristen Stewart and Ryan Reynolds.
Yes.
From 2009. Spider-Man Far From Home. He's away. It's on summer holidays. The Great Outdoors. John Candy and Dan Aykroyd from 1988.
It's the all-you-can-eat scene is the bit you always remember, isn't it? Yeah.
Grease.
Of course, yeah.
1978. And not so much a summertime movie, but it's got loads of surfing in it. Point Break from 1991 with Keanu Reeves from The Matrix.
Never seen it.
Jesus Christ. So what have you gone with?
I've gone for boss little movies, but they've all got a dysfunctional, broken family vibe, and this is what I mean when I spoke to you before. I went on Steve Carell dive a couple of years back. So the first three are all Steve Carell films. Little Miss Sunshine. It's the same producers of this film. If you love Little Miss Sunshine, you'll love this. If you love this, you'll love Little Miss Sunshine. They're just, you know, both him and Toni Collette are in it. It's one of my favourite films of all time. Beautiful Boy with Timothée Chalamet. Have you ever seen that?
Not seen that.
Steve Carell plays a dad he's sort of trying to come to terms with his son's addiction to methamphetamine, and he's trying to understand and just get his head around it. What his son's trying. It's a fantastic performance by Steve Carell. It was after, I think it was done after The Way Back, so it was the first time I'd heard of Timothée Chalamet. He's brilliant in it as well, by the way. And then he did a film, I think before this one, called Dan in Real Life. Have you ever seen that?
Is that Jason? Not Jason Segel, is it?
No, there's loads of. It's got a hell of a cast.
No, I don't think I have.
He plays a widow, and they're all the family are going back to meet up in his mum and dad's house, and he starts to fall in love with this woman who he meets in a shop, and then his brother turns up with this woman, and it's a really good film. It's very, very similar vibe to all those three films. It's almost like a little trilogy of films. They're really, really good. I'd definitely say dig all them out. What's Eating Gilbert Grape?
I've seen that for a long time.
It's a long time, but I feel like that dysfunctional family, it vibe with small independent film. Great performances by actors just coming to the forefront of their talent. I think it's definitely a film to dig out. The Royal Tenenbaums and the Jarling Limited thing, those two go hand in hand, don't they? I think they're definitely there. And I don't know if you've ever seen this. Have you seen This Is Where I Leave You?
Go on, my mum used to.
So Jason Bateman's in it, Tina Fey's in it, amongst others. The cast is
this the one based around the funeral?
Yeah, Jane Fonda. The cast is unbelievable. I think Dax Shepard is in it as well. Really good film.
It's Chris Rock.
I don't know if Chris Rock is in it. I can't remember.
We'll have to check after this.
Really good film. Also, we've got to mention it again, The Descendants, the George Clooney directed one, written by
Jim
Rash and Nat Faxon. And my last one, have you ever seen Manchester by the Sea? Casey Affleck one?
So it looked too hard going for me. I know it was Oscar nominated, and Casey Affleck, I think is a good actor. She's a great actor as well. It just looked like one that you need to set a bit of time aside to watch, not be in a particularly good mood, maybe, because I think it'd ruin it. I do want to see it, but it just looked heavy going. Is it good?
It's really good. I see all them films have sort of reeled off there, and like this, okay, some of them may be a bit more comedy, some of them may be a bit more straight, but they are sort of my favourite little movies, them. And I'm going to come back to them again, boss little movies, because they're not films that are vehicles for a star. That's another thing as well, is a defining specification for a boss little movie. Do you know what I mean? It's not a Brian De Palma film. It's not a Martin Scorsese film. So it's not something for a director. It's not a so-and-so's next big project. It's not a Tom Cruise project. It's not a blah blah project. Do you know what I mean? It's just a cast of actors who have read the script, really love the script, probably take a lot more pay cuts, they could probably earn a lot more money doing other things. Like I said, Steve Carell was on the back of being the highest paid person in Hollywood on the back of this, and he made this film. So again, they're all them boss little movies, and it all comes from a great script. But all the money Hollywood has, it never ceases to understand or amaze me how you can have a crap script. It's the bit that costs nothing. Do you get what I mean? I'm like, how can a film, you hear these films that don't even have a script, I'm like, you can start a film with a script that costs nothing to write. And all these films here came from great scripts and then got made. And all of them struggled to get made as well. So apparently this film, way back, had been hawked round producers for a couple of years, and everyone loved it. Apparently it was everyone's favourite script, but no one would pay to get it made. Because
they know what did they make, 23 million? The idea is a studio wants 100 million movie, don't they? And that's where probably likes of Searchlight Pictures, A24,
yes,
make those movies almost for the sake of making them, don't they?
But my point is, if you're getting 25 million from a 5 million, you're making 20. It costs 5 million. You'll make 25 million. You're making 20 million. That's like 400% profit. I'm like, is capitalism not?
But what it is, 20 million to a studio is nothing. 20 million would barely pay Tom Cruise his salary on his next big film. So it's got to be. It's big numbers, isn't it? Warner Brothers and the types of that just wouldn't make these type of movies where they know you've got to pay for your marketer and you've got to pay for everything else, haven't you? Your royalties and everything that go out of that, and they just won't do it. And it's such a shame, isn't it? Because, like I say, there's probably scripts out there. I forgot what it's called now. Is it called the Blacklist, where they're all just kind of sat there? Yeah. There's probably amazing scripts in there that will probably only cost maybe someone could make for 10, 20 million.
Yeah, easily.
You can make a Batman movie for like 20 million. You just need a guy in a car and he beats bad guys. But they don't. It'll be this next Batman will be a 250 million movie with the hope that it makes somewhere close to $1 billion. And we love all those films. We'll be the first ones to see them.
Yeah.
But if you can somehow squeeze in a few little boss little movies.
That's what the world needs, more boss little movies. Just a great thing I was reading, because I was reading the trivia about it, is to save costs, instead of buying trailers for the cast, what the film crew did is they just hired a house, rented a house not far from where they filmed, and apparently everyone just loved hanging out there, that everyone would still come down and just hang out when he weren't working or on the day off. Apparently that was all the casting crew. They just loved, and that's the vibe that comes through in the film, because do you know why? It was a boss little movie.
So that was The Way Back. That was the film that Liam picked for me that I'd never seen before, and you should watch it if you can.
This was a Watch It If You Can production, executive produced by Kenny, our Val's lad, on Wake Experience.
Don't forget to follow, rate and share from wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey Dave, if you were rating yourself out of 10, what would you be?
No idea.
I know, like, do you know, like, what would you say I was? Rate me?
Oh, do I have to?
I will tell you what, I'll count to 3, and then you give me what you think I am,
Okay.
and I'll see what I think you are.
That's fair.
Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 10.
6.
Fucking 6!